What's been your single biggest mistake, or what's the one of the learning curves that you've been through that maybe one of our viewers can learn from and take advice from and lead from?
Too many eggs in one basket. And I think that everybody does that.
I can identify with that big time.
Yep. You get a great client, or you get one great idea that you're going to pursue, and it's great for a little while, and it works really well, and you're clicking along, and it's great, and then the bottom falls out from under you. And I've seen that a number of times with people who don't diversify their portfolios, who invest, like, say, only in one place. I've had clients who have bought 10 properties on 2 streets. That's fine until the warehouse down the street that was employing all the people who lived on those streets goes out of business. And then nobody wants to live there anymore. And then you have 5 properties that are vacant. That's a disaster. And I've had the same experience. I've had a single client that I worked with extensively and was giving me 3/4 of my business, and they went out of business. They lost 30,000 pounds on a bad investment, and that was the end. So I think putting too many of your eggs in one basket, not diversifying either your strategy or your portfolio, is a mistake, and we all do it, and we all shouldn't.
Thank you. Likewise, what's your biggest win and biggest success, and what's some good advice that our viewers can maybe learn from your perspective?
I have a client who came from another country, so it's tremendously difficult to get financing if you don't have a credit history in the UK. He had a pot of money. He had a strategy that he was going to use to buy 60 properties in 2 years, which he did successfully by taking that money and recycling it through the properties that he was purchasing. It was a really great strategy, and he did it against absolutely all odds. When he first came and said to me, "This is what I want to do, this is my strategy, my idea," I was like, okay, but you're going to face a lot of hurdles, and the first hurdle is going to be banking. How do we get your money into the country without you paying a lot of tax on it? And so that was the first strategy, and the next strategy was setting him up as a serious investor. Estate agents didn't take him seriously. They'd never met him before, they'd never heard of him. So we partnered with a local agent who gave him some credibility and some chops, got him the first couple of houses, and then he can say, well, I've got 8 houses under my belt. This is what I'm doing. The next thing was to find a government agency that he could work with to make sure that the properties were always tenanted, so that there weren't any void periods, make sure his cash flow was still really strong. And the next thing was to change his strategy over time when we really realized that Manchester was becoming tapped out for HMOs, and move to other places. And that was a lot of research. Again, it felt like starting over, but as long as you stick with it, I think almost anything is possible. And that's true of Redbird too. When we started on April Fool's Day 2010, people were like, are you crazy? We're in the middle of a property-based recession. Law firms are going out of business right and left. You're switching over from being a solicitor to being a licensed conveyancer. No one's ever heard of licensed conveyancers. Who are they? What do they do? Why would you want to be a specialist at a time when everybody's saying, no, you need to be generalists at a big firm? And you know what? 7 years later, we're still here, and we're going strong. We've got too much work.
Yes, fantastic. Oh, thank you so much, Pam. It's been fantastic.